I'm seeing, I'm going to have to go by IFR.
Freeze!
On January 20th, 2010, at about 10:30 a.m., I was driving down Willow Creek Road. A small helicopter was flying ahead of me, parallel to the road on the right side. When I was passing Doggy Dude Ranch, the helicopter suddenly fell out of the sky. I had to concentrate on the traffic, but I think there must have been some kind of collision, because there was actually a cloud of pieces falling towards the ground.
Action.
Oh.
Freeze.
At the next traffic light, I turned right and called 911. I parked my car and went towards where I had seen the helicopter fall. I arrived at a fence and I could see a wreckage of a helicopter. I could hear the firefighters coming, so I went back to the road to guide them. I told them about the location of the wreckage and let them do their job.
Action. When we first arrived at the crash, we located 3 of the 4 points of the helicopter. We were unable to find the tail. Right away, we saw that one top rotor was bent and both were torn. After doing a line search, we found pieces of the tail torn and scuffed. We also found the tail rotor. We found red paint on the tail and also found the same red paint on both the rotors. Another important factor we found was a pulled brake handle that was ripped out. Sandra bent these rotors because she was flying low and hit trees. The top rotor bent and hit the tail rotor because of the matching red paint and the scuff mark. That ripped off the tail of the helicopter. Remember, always fly with at least 60 hours of experience in good weather and know how to use your instruments so you don't end up like Sandra. Okay, so for introductions, I'm Sophia Vocal and I'm the president.
I'm Holly Beaupre and I'm the investigative officer in maintenance.
I'm Reagan Sensmeyer and I am the witness.
I'm Dylan Kowicki and I'm the investigative officer.
Sir, will you show this?
Sure.
Okay, so this is the map that we created of our crash scene. As you can see, it was very spread out from where she originally hit. Pieces were falling down and all that kind of stuff.
Like I said, we were unable to find the tail, and the rotors were spread out and bent from each other, and we found the brake handle pulled.
And then this is just a little bit about a similar crash that we had with the same type of helicopter. Very similar crash.
And then this is some evidence, the first picture, that you can see it on the edge, the leading edge of the tail, or the rotor, excuse me. It has red paint, and that should go with another picture that we have, but I don't see it, but that just shows that the rotor did impact the tail. And then the other ones are, again, evidence of the rotor impacting the tail.
Okay, so our pilot's name was Sandra Kim Possible Johnson. She kind of lived by this motto, you know, kind of like, I can do anything. Sadly, Sandra couldn't do anything, as she crashed and burned. Okay. The center photo here is our crash, and the ones around them are similar crashes, just other helicopters that are the same kind as ours and kind of crashed in a similar way. Except for the top right. Yeah, except for the top right. That one I don't know how that's possible. So what we did, like we said, we arrived at our scene. We tried to locate the 4 points of our crash, but we couldn't as the tail was missing from the immediate area. We saw that one of the rotors was bent, and so that kind of made us suspicious at first. And we did a line search, and we found pieces of the tail as well as one specific piece that was red. It's this piece right here.
The red on that danger was found on the bent rotor from the top, so we know that it bent and it repeatedly hit the tail, breaking off pieces of it.
Some findings that we found that we concluded were not factors were her weight. She was at an average weight for her size. She didn't have any psychological issues. She wasn't intoxicated. Her visibility may have been, but we don't think it was a major factor. And the last biannual flight review on the helicopter was not a factor.
Some findings that we found were a factor was that we think she was distracted because we concluded that she was out of her seatbelt when the helicopter crashed. We also found out she was not as experienced with helicopters as one should be when flying a helicopter. She was not certified completely, like up to how she should have been for this helicopter. She was flying low around trees, which probably isn't very safe, and I hit the tree. And the rotor was broken, as well as the weather wasn't very good that day. And she did pull the brake handle, and she was alone.
Okay, and then our causes is that she did hit a tree and it did bend the rotor down and it impacted with the tail on the danger sign and it broke apart the tail and the plane went down.
Helicopter,
Excuse me.
Our recommendations are to not fly without an expert if you are alone or unexperienced, because you might not know how to react to certain situations, such as flying lower around trees in a helicopter as well. Also, bad weather. Don't fly low in bad weather because you don't know where you are on the ground. You can't see, your visibility is low. And we also concluded that if you don't know how to use your instruments, you shouldn't be flying alone because there are times when you need to use your instruments. Thank you for your time. The end.
Everybody give a round of applause. Good job.
Do you want me to turn this off, sir?
No, you leave it on. Okay, do you have your documents?
Our Word documents?
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you want to, is there a way you can bring it up so
Oh,
we can
yes.
have it on the video? That way we can look at it. Just talk us through it, please, so you don't have to go through the whole thing.
Oh, our Word document with our skit, sir.
Okay,
the
so
skit was
we-
the beginning of our Word document.
Okay, so just walk through it online so we can see it,
Okay.
because I'm recording the whole thing.
Okay. Okay, so what happened was Sandra Johnson took off from the Prescott Airport. She was in an R-22 helicopter. Maybe can I see that? She was in an R-22 helicopter. She was flying low because of bad weather, and she went to IFR, which is I Fly Roads. Yeah. And she did not see the trees that she was flying around, and she hit one, bent the rotor. Witnesses reported loud bangs, the surprising sight of a helicopter falling out of the sky. And that was when we arrived, and we tried to locate the 4 points, but we couldn't. There were only 3. And we walked through our investigation. One of you want to go through this page? Causes? Factors.
Factors, again, our factors, she was distracted, there was bad weather, she was not experienced with helicopters, she didn't know how to use her instruments to react in certain situations like bad weather. Her certification, she had a Swedish certification, so I don't know why she was flying in Prescott. She was alone, again, with the instruments. She hit trees, and that doesn't have anything to do with visibility. She could see fine, it's just she didn't know how to fly around trees. The weather, and the brake handle was pulled.
Oh, and then our causes, like we said, was the top rotor hit a tree and it bent. And we knew this because she was flying around the ground, she hit the trees. And then once the top rotor bent, it hit the tail. And because we know this because of the red paint that we found. And then that ripped off the tail of the helicopter. And we know that because we found the tail.
And then our recommendations, as we said, is don't fly without an expert if you're inexperienced, and make sure you know how to use your instruments because there could be a time where you have to use your instruments. and then the rest we went through.
Then the rest is our map drawing and our similar crashes.
All right, great. Round the room, every group needs 2 constructive criticism. Please stand up and compliment them and give us comments.
SAL Group 2. I would just say to talk louder. It seems like you guys know what you're talking about, but a lot of times we can't hear you. And you were looking down a lot. But besides that.
Next, Rafael. Stand up, give constructive criticism.
I thought the presentation was well presented. Maybe when you were acting out in front of the class, be a little bit more obvious of what happened. I don't know, it was a little confusing at times.
Kai.
Okay. Like Rafael said, it was an awesome presentation. Just how Joey said, how you guys kept on looking down. I mean, but your PowerPoint was there, so I couldn't understand that. Yeah, just to talk a little bit louder. Your acting was great, but it was somewhat confusing at times. But other than that, it was awesome.
All right, everybody, give a round of applause.